So, should we talk about the elephant in the room?
It was a gift.
Aren't they all?
Welcome to the Collingwood Rant. I am Sly.
And I'm Spook.
And we are going to look at the Collingwood St Kilda game. Spook, I will let you begin with, so I don't prejudice your thoughts. What did you think of that error-laden, listless, purposeless performance?
Fumble. Yeah, horrible game. Good to win, good to take the 4 points home. But other than that, there's not a lot to say other than the fact it was skillless. Fumble count, is there a stat for fumbles in the AFL? There probably should be, because we'd be leading it.
Yeah, it was insanely reminiscent of the last 4 years. Just constant fumbling, poor disposal, and I don't know if it's that our guys just aren't running as hard or if they're getting blocked up. Against Geelong, we really got blocked up when we tried to spread and create that running game, but we really seem to be lacking that purposeful run.
Yeah, look, I dare say that they tried to play a similar style of football to close us down as Geelong did, and that stymies our run, obviously. I think the other second glaring thing that frustrated me on the weekend was, and I love Brodie Grundy, but he was St Kilda's best ruckman. Yeah,
all right, so let's talk about that. I mean, Mason Cox will probably get the ire of all condemnation across the internet, because he's tall and an easy target. It's very, actually, for me, reminiscent of when Anthony Rocker used to cop a lot of flack for not running and all that sort of stuff.
HR Huff and Puff.
Yeah, you know, and you look at like the delivery into the forward line was often not great. Grundy, the last few weeks since the second half of that Richmond game, has been quieter. I thought this game he was a lot more. He stamped his presence in the game. Unfortunately, he just kept shoving the ball down the throats of the St Kilda mids. And one of the things I think he's got to learn is what Nick Nat does, which is just, must be telling the mids, just run and I'll tap it to where you're going. Don't stand there, don't be stationary targets, because when they tap it straight down your throat, they're either going to shark it or you're just going to get tackled straight off.
Can you rely on Grundy to do that though? His jump timing when it's off doesn't necessarily mean the ball's going to go anywhere.
But that's going to, I think in the first month or so, that's what was making him such a dominant ruckman. He was actually hitting targets with his tap work. He's a ruckman, he needs to do that. That's part of what a ruckman does. I mean, it's not just Grundy. I thought it was a game, outside of that third quarter, for about that 15 minutes we got on top, I thought it was a game where a lot of players just didn't do enough. Josh Thomas, William Hoskett, Elliott, again, you know, really just disappears for long stretches of the game.
Hang on, but he's kicked a goal in every game this year.
Well, that's great for the 4 minutes that takes, but, you know, otherwise, he's just not contributing enough. Other guys like Treloar was very fumbly and didn't really do a lot. Sidebottom, who get this massive praise, I just don't think he really did anything, again, outside that third quarter.
He had 37 touches.
You know, but it's just, yeah, well, touches are, you know, they go sideways and around in circles, especially the Collingwood chip. You know, you're going to get possessions. In terms of the way we played the first half, Scharenberg, again, amazing.
Started like a house on fire.
Yeah, and, you know, to me, he's really someone who's just gone from, I'm just trying to hold my place, to, fuck, I'm stamping myself on this defence. I'm becoming a general down here. Langdon, good return.
Just on Shaz though, what's he going to be like when he's played 25 games?
Well, hopefully it doesn't take another 4 years. You know, hopefully he gets a good run at it with his body. I mean,
you have to say though. I mean, like, yeah, that was his 22nd game, I think, on the weekend. His trajectory curve is almost like this.
Oh, it's gone like it's been a reverse L. It's been and then just up.
It's just massive. I mean, he is becoming so quickly everything that we'd hope he'd be. That only took 4 years to get there through obviously reasonable reasons.
But I mean, if you look at this game, watching this game, you had the goalie, amazing, you know. Stevenson just, you know, he's playing on his 9th game and he's running around like he's played 50.
Like a man possessed.
Amazing. And now you get Scharenberg, again, also amazing. And you think, this is what we were missing 4 years ago when they started this rebuild. These guys weren't playing. You know, these guys, these younger players who with high draft picks weren't getting it. They weren't playing any football. And then if they did play, they were getting injured. And then, like Broomhead, then they were missing long stretches and then coming back and getting injured again. You finally got some. Well, you're finally getting some high draft picks who are actually getting game time and looking really impressive. So this is what the excitement we're really missing and the hope.
Yeah, I mean, you even look back at Steph's first goal. I mean, he turned his opponent inside out, and then he dumped him as well, which I thought was just a really good moment in terms of, I've beaten you. Not only have I beaten you, I'm going to make my point well and truly felt by dumping you on the ground and then kicking the goal as well. And it's great attitude.
And he must be like, I don't know, about 40 kilograms. And he's standing up in tackles against guys a lot stronger. But anyway, sort of moving on, we'll get back to those guys. Crisp had a quieter one. Tom Phillips had a quieter one. It was like a lot of players in that first half struggled to impose themselves in the game. Pendles was pretty good. The guys we've mentioned. But otherwise, it just seemed like we struggled to get going. Third quarter, everyone lifted. It was like once and kill the challenge. We all lifted. And then you had this synchronicity happening where, because one guy was running, another guy started running, and things started to fall into place. And the go was magnificent. And then the last quarter was really St Kilda just trying to stop them from getting shellacked. So, but it wasn't a great spectacle. But
I didn't get on the Name a Game website and order that one.
Well, who does against St Kilda? But in the end, we played ugly, we won.
Oh, that's it. You take the 4 points and run.
And I think you got to put it in context because a lot of people were slashing wrists after the narrow win against Brisbane. Brisbane beat Hawthorn by 9 goals.
Smashed them.
So they're actually doing pretty well. So that win looks a lot more meritorious. And St Kilda, I think, really set themselves for this game. It's as we keep
and the Cats had a good win too. So what does that say?
Oh, the Cats, they were up for 2 weeks. And this is the nature of the competition now. Look, Richmond got smashed too. Great teams don't seem to have that fantastic run they did, just even 5-6 years ago. Geelong had that 21-1 season. We had a 19-3 or something, or 22, and they had that 19-3 season. You don't get these dominant performances throughout a season. You get these massive drop-offs suddenly. And I don't know, I guess that's because of the quality of the talent pool. It just doesn't spread evenly across 18 teams. If they could just chop 6 teams, it would be great.
Well, maybe Size just really set themselves up for the games against us.
No, I think that's
fall flat the following week.
But I think that's the other thing. But I mean, I just want to say, people are going to sort of go, oh, hang on, what a shit performance against Geelong by 4 goals and all that. But I think they really set themselves. And when we were challenged in that third quarter, I said to you, geez, this has got danger signs all over it. And they look like they're going to run over the top of us. And we ran over the top of them. And then they just went into preservation mode. So I actually think it was a pretty good win ultimately, given how poorly we were playing. But I'd really hope that we start working out how to get our game going, because since that second half against Richmond, we've really fumbled, we've really struggled, and it's, we've struggled to get run going, and unfortunately, because we've had injuries to Maynard, who I think is still 2 weeks away, 4 weeks on, Aish, and that beautiful run we're getting out of defence, we're lacking that now. And
that structure is working exceptionally well. And it really did free people up to go long or kick over the zone or whatever to get that ball running. Now everybody's sort of working out that they can stop us by filling those gaps.
Yep.
It really does strangle our run. And hopefully we come up with something a little bit better to get us through this period until those other guys come back. If they ever come back.
Yeah. Well, Murray's been really quiet the last few weeks, but he's still trying, which I actually appreciate. He could have easily went into shell and just said, I'll play safe, like other players who I might name. But he's actually...
I think you already did.
Yeah, okay. He's really sort of trying to still get things going. Treloar's the same. I think he's trying to get things going at times. And that's what we need. You need people to take the game on. If it comes undone, it comes undone. But better, we come undone trying something rather than chipping 48 kicks across the ground and chipping 47 back and then the 48th then missing the target and just having a turnover. I don't want to be losing the ball like that. No. Any final thoughts about this terrible game?
Just one little thing. There's a really, really big, tall guy that we have in our side that can take some contested marks. At some point, it would have been nice to see him in the goal square. I think in the second half he did appear a little bit more there. But, when the game was in that flipping and flopping stage in the first half, it would have been nice to have him there. I mean, obviously he's got to do a little bit of work in the ruck and that sort of thing. But, geez, I mean, they were just kicking to shorts so many times. And even though, when he did get down there, it takes a special skill to kick over the head of a giant, and we managed to pull it off about 20 times.
I know, it's amazing. It's, just drop it in front of him. Drop it 5 metres in front of him. With that reach, he'll run onto it.
I know.
He did it really well for a few games. How you miss him? He's only 7 foot tall, and when he throws his arms up, he's another 2.5 foot tall. How you miss a 10-foot target?
He runs the risk of breaking his hands on the roof when you kick it that high.
And I just, as you said, anchor him to the goal square. Put the smalls around him. If he doesn't mark it, the smalls will do the damage. Just one bit we should add. Hopefully Faz will be okay. Really shit luck to
6 to 8 weeks is what the rumour is at the moment.
So he'll probably not play again this year. In terms of, by the time he comes back, he'll spend time in the reserves, and I doubt they'll be bringing him back for the end of the year. They'll probably just put him in cotton wool or at Collingwood on a stretcher.
I wouldn't be surprised to see him somewhere else next year.
What, defence?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's it for the match review. We'll be right back with Media Mephitic. Welcome to Media Mephitic. Spook.
Yes.
Departure.
Yes.
Okay, we're going to talk about a Collingwood departure. Mo Hope leaves for North Melbourne. And we had another AFLW player also leave.
Yeah, Erin, the ruckman, ruck girl, ruck
I hope it wasn't
person, ruck. What do you call them these days?
I don't know.
Ruck entity.
Emma King?
Emma King, that's it, yeah. So I think the rules are that marquee players, you can't hold them for too long, or you can legitimately poach them or something. There's something in there, but yeah, they're both gone. Mo's presence will be missed, I think. That Emma King though looked like a half.
She looked amazing.
Ruck person, ruck entity.
I'm just going to throw in here. The AFL's constantly giving licenses out for this competition. I'm not being critical, but the standard is pretty low at the moment. Like I actually like watching it because they're really fiercely competitive. The standard is low because the talent pool is thin at the moment, and that's going to be natural because they've only just started the competition. You don't have a lot of girls who've played in the under 18 comps who've come up into this competition. That'll happen over time, generationally. So the talent pool is thin, and you get scrappy games. Why the fuck are you adding more teams and spreading that talent pool even further? Surely you should consolidate the teams that you do have, and then later add teams.
Well, just to add to that too, is that you've got marquee players, which are meant to be obviously the ones that draw the crowds to the ground. If they're flipping and flopping and changing sides every couple of years, you're going to lose people who's invested their supporting time into this. This person's my best player, and I follow Collingwood, and now she's off over there. You'd be thinking about, do I go over there, or who am I going to stay and follow now? It needs to settle itself down before it gets silly.
And just logistically, how can the club actually build toward a premiership if they're just going to be losing players every year?
Which club are you talking about?
Oh, any club in general, Just saying, well, how can you actually build if you're just saying all players can leave? I like the AFLW. I think they're misusing it by putting it in summer. I'd rather they play the curtain raisers.
And maybe play a bit more of an extended season, so when sides are starting to come good, they may have a chance of making finals.
Play each other twice. Again, if you did that as a curtain raiser, it would be great. But, and this is with no disrespect intended, I think you needed to consolidate the talent pools and the teams having entrenched lists before you started chopping and changing, because I think this is just going to be a fuck up of magnificent proportions for the new teams coming in who have to cobble together sides, and for the teams who have cobbled together sides who are now losing players and starting to hemorrhage through list management. Well, anyway, went to the AFL site because before we do this segment, I always go look at news, and I found the Collingwood St Kilda match report, and I was, I read it because we won, which is what I do.
You beauty.
Ashley Brown spoke about Collingwood's win, and I found 2 paragraphs. Amazing. So the first paragraph. But the Pies dominated the third term with 7 goals to 2 to take a firm grip on the game. There was some luck involved, however. They hit the front at the 11-minute mark, following a goal to Josh Thomas after a missed free kick to St Kilda youngster Nick Caulfield for an arm chop. Okay. And then, from the bounce, Collingwood got the ball to Daniel Wells, who goaled with an assist from Will Hoskin Elliott, who should have been penalised for a hold on the St Kilda defender. What the fuck is this? You're going to detail all the missed free kicks? Because there was, a few others. Collingwood got the rub of the umpiring.
Yep, true.
Shockingly.
For a change.
Yep, Collingwood got the rub of the umpiring. But you know what? Fuck, they miss a lot of things. And they miss them both ways. And it shoots me that, this goes on to... actually, I'll get to that later, because that's a new segment. But I just found that amazing. What a fucking amazing...
Sounds like a sooky little St Kilda suck.
Just an article about by Lachlan Keefe, former Collingwood player Lachlan Keefe, who's now with the Giants, who just spoke about Josh Thomas, who played his 50th against St Kilda apparently. Well done, Josh, after being at the club for, 13 years. Article on Matthew Scharenberg prior to this game, who's averaged 20.7 disposals and 4 rebound 50s per game, putting together the most consistent block of football in his injury-hit career. He's averaged 7.3 intercepts, which is rated elite, 4.6 spoils, rated elite, and has operated at an amazing 76.8% kicking efficiency. That is amazing at Collingwood. That's like, winning the lotto every second week.
Incredible.
Again, well done, Chaz. I just want to go back to Sidebottom. Do you think the love for Sidebottom is justified?
At times, yes. A lot of times, I think his love masks some of the issues with his game.
As I said, I think he's the Andy Sinclair. Ben Sinclair, I thought, was coming good toward the end of his career. People will still shit on him, go, he was useless. I actually thought he was developing a bit of composure. He was providing some run out of defence. He was keeping his opponent quiet. And people who just say he wasn't doing none of that, it's just total prejudice. So I think he was starting to come good. But the moment like he shanked the kick or whatever, it was like, that's why he's shit. Sidey will do like 1 or 2 good things a game and people go, that's why he's elite, ignoring the fact that he'll kick it on the full or stop and prop and kick sideways or just miss the target. There was one pass he did in this game which just, he speared it at the ankles of the leading player. And that's not to, just be shitting on Sidey, but just to say, you got to be fucking actually impartial when you rate these players. You can't just sort of, because they're a favourite, say, how great is he? I actually think Sidebottom had a couple of elite weeks. He's gotten a lot of possessions lately, but I don't think they're really actually effective possessions. They're just chain possessions.
Pretty much sums up Sidey's career, though.
Yep.
He should be taking that next step into superstardom, and he just reverts back to form far too easily. And the form is obviously better than a lot of players. But yeah.
Oh, he has the capability to be elite. I mean, this shits me too, because I was looking over the message boards and I was seeing sort of all this talk about all these players and the ones they criticise. And, we were talking about this earlier. It shits me when you get a young player who comes in, just saying in general, he might have a couple of bad performances and people make a pronouncement on his career. He's just terrible. That's it. Or he'll get like Ben Sinclair.
Like
yeah, Ben Sinclair, who admittedly had like a bad start to his career, he'll just carry that stigma forever. And I try and judge players on what I see on a week-by-week basis. So if it's Pendlebury, he's had a bad one, I'll say he's had a bad one. I'm not saying he's a shit player, I'm just saying he's had a bad one. Sidebottom's the same thing. I think he's a very good player. He can be great. But there's times I just think his figures flatter his actual influence on the game. And that just shits me with a lot of Collingwood supporters. That's what they do. They're like, this guy's played 4 games. He's terrible. I don't know why we're persevering with him. He's hopeless. I mean, they said that about Dane Swan. They carried him for 5 years. Did he turn into an okay player? Maybe. I don't know.
He was passable.
And the one thing I will say, like a lot of people criticise Buckley in the selections, but if you go back to when Malthouse was coach, a lot of people criticising his selections, that he champions certain players. I'd like to think that they have a logic for why they're selecting the players they are selecting. We might not be privy to it. We can only speculate on it. But I actually think, they probably know a little bit more than we do about why they're selecting the guys that they're selecting.
And we know fuck all.
Yep. Darcy Moore. Another thing. Darcy Moot. Here's a moot point. No, Darcy Moore. I, again, read the message boards and I was fucking astounded. Seriously, you know who you are. People saying, let's just let him walk because there's speculation that Sydney's interested in him.
Oh, that's fair enough. I mean, we have 100 of his type just waiting on the wings.
It's just...
waiting in the wings.
I will say this about Darcy Moore. If he was to never improve, and this was the most we got out of him on a regular basis, it is still fucking better than anything we've had. With the exception of Travis Cloak and Anthony Rocker, it's still better than anything else we've had as a tall in the forward line for about the last 25 years.
The guy say just get rid of him, let him go to a side where they're going to kick to him correctly and
use him correctly
competition. Why would we need someone like that?
It's just amazing.
We got Jared Blair.
Again, that sort of goes back to this prejudice that people are saying, well, he's played what? He's played about 30 games now? 40?
More.
Yeah,
there's a bit more than that.
Hey. Yeah. So he's played about 40 games, or 40, 50 games. He's still, 22? He's still got a lot of filling out to do. He's had interrupted seasons because of hammies and broken collarbones and all that sort of shit. And people are surprised he's not playing like Buddy Franklin.
Why isn't he?
I mean, at what point did Buddy Franklin play like Buddy Franklin? Was he doing it straight away?
Probably when his hamstrings would stay together.
Yeah, I don't think Joe Danaher took years to come on and he's now struggling. Maybe Essendon should get rid of him too. Send him to fucking Sydney also. It's really ridiculous impatience. As far as I'm concerned, as I said, watching this game, the Goey out of contract, Scharenberg, allegedly out of contract.
Yeah.
And Stephenson, and I'm throwing more in. You need to fucking lock these guys down for as long as you can because they all shout quality. And I don't want to fucking lose one of these players. This rebuild has taken a long time to get the right players on the field. I mean, there's still a lot of rebuilding to do. And there's additions we need, like more key positions and shit. Yeah. But you don't want to be losing these guys.
It's called a spine for a reason.
Yeah, they're just ridiculous. That
sign them up.
Yep.
I would have been out there with a pen and paper at quarter time with the goey and said, look, mate, sign this.
And just a little bit further afield, what did you think of the Shanghai match? I think it drew about 3,000 people. It rained, so...
I think it drew my attention for 3 seconds. Didn't watch a second of it. It's the stupidest thing. And how many are they doing again next year?
Apparently. And I will say to Eddie McGuire, do not fucking send Collingwood down there. We don't need fans in Shanghai, so we don't need to create brand awareness internationally. Just keep winning here, and that will do the trick for the rest of that. You mentioned to me, you're at Auskick, you've taken your... Well, you weren't there for your own abilities, but you brought your child to Auskick, and you were dismayed by the amount of Hawthorn jumpers.
Everywhere.
You know, compared...
Followed by Richmond, and there's my son and about one other kid wearing a Collingwood jumper.
And
Take a fucking hint, Collingwood.
I believe they both did hammies.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's it for Media Mephitic. We have a new segment, which I call You're a Big Karate Kid fan.
Yep, well, I'm not really big. I'm about this high, but yeah.
And you remember the, infamous scene, wax on, wax off.
So was that in Karate Kid?
Yeah, apparently. And I'm going to call this segment Wax Lyrical, Wax Dumb. And this is about the shit commentators say. Because there was a lot of shit being said during this game, which was annoying me. And I think we've talked about commentators and said, which commentator do you like?
Not many.
Yeah, well, I think if you take the M away from that answer, that would be closer. So James Brayshaw was condescending because Collingwood fans were booing because we did not get a free kick, and he said the free kick count was currently 16-9, and we're still complaining. If the free kick's there, it's fucking there. I don't give a shit if the free kick count is 30-1. You still pay a free kick if it's there. So fans should be able to voice their displeasure if they don't get a free kick. This condescension is just fucking ridiculous. In quarter 3, Daniel Wells received a handball running into an open goal. And the commentators raved about how good and special he is.
Oh, it takes a lot of courage and a lot of skills and a lot of effort to receive a handball and an open goal and kick it.
Well, and this is not to criticise Daniel, but just the verbal diarrhea that fucking commentators spray, particularly that they assign to champions.
You seriously come away after watching a game thinking they're saying something completely different?
Yeah, and after the game, they interviewed Stevenson, and they asked, oh, well, it must be really good to have Wells with his silky delivery into the forward line. I think he kicked...
He said who?
Jaden Stevenson.
He said who? Who's that?
Daniel Wells.
Who's he?
Yeah, but he's saying, with his silky delivery... thanks. If silky delivery to the forward line, from memory, I only kicked it twice into the forward line. One was the fucking alley-oop to Jordan Goey when he had Freese and Kilda players around him. And the other one was like, no one was within bloody miles of his target. It's fucking you watching the game, what you're commenting on. And the last thing, and I actually like Matthew Richardson generally, he talked about how Collingwood's defence has leaked over the last month, repeatedly conceding 100-plus points. Richo, prior to this game, Collingwood restricted Geelong to 66 points, which is well below 100. Brisbane 114, so I'll concede that. Richmond to 113, I'll concede that, but they are the fucking reigning premier, so if you're going to concede points to a side, I think you can justify that. And prior to that, Essendon to 52 points. So 2 games in a month isn't the whole month conceding 100 points.
Maybe he added them all together.
Can you add?
No, probably not.
Does come from Richmond. Anyway, that's our new segment, Wax Lyrical, Wax Dumb. If you have anything you've heard a commentator say which is fucking ridiculous, post it in our comments, which is somewhere there. Match preview. We're playing Western Bulldogs at Etihad.
Oh, you beauty.
It's apparently our home game.
Is it?
Our name came first, so I'm guessing it is.
Yeah.
Why do we play home games at Etihad? I don't give a shit what the financial realities of this deal are. I don't want to fucking play there. Collingwood supporters don't want to go there. It's a shithole.
I don't want to go there.
No one wants to go there. It is the
Bottom of the world.
It's the Justice League of the AFL. Nobody wants to go see it. It's the Star Wars Episode 9 of the AFL. People know it's shit. You need to fucking get us away from there. You play us there, you're going to get 30,000. You play us at MCG, you're going to get 40,000. You know, I don't know if the operational costs just totally undermine that, but I just don't want to fucking play there. But anyway, let me just point out that this week, Adelaide also plays Melbourne. They're on 24 points each. Port on 24 points plays Hawthorn on 20 points. And we're on 20 points. Our percentage is worse than all of them. I wonder why. And it's considerably worse than Adelaide and, than Melbourne. It's like 20% worse. But this is a chance to actually do some leapfrogging. So, what do you think about this match against the Bulls?
You painted that picture. We'll lose this badly. No, look, I think I watched the Doggies Geelong, not Geelong. That was Doggies Adelaide. Sorry.
Yep.
In that slog, and that was a bad loss for them.
That's a bit hard on Adelaide.
All right, there's two possible things that can come out of that game.
Two possibilities, eh?
Is that hopefully they ran themselves into an absolute bog and their cactus for Friday night, or had that such a shit loss stings them into action, and we're in a bit of strife.
Dogs have clearly been struggling the last couple of years. They don't look like the premiership side.
They may lift for us, though. It seems to be a trend.
And in fairness, they didn't look like the premiership side in the year they won the premiership until the finals. They could live for us. I mean, I'm hoping what you said is right. They had a hard slog. They were in it for most of the game, and they were constantly trying to come back, and then Adelaide crushed them toward the end. Shit weather, a lot of running. I don't know if Buckley will consider tagging Bont or McRae. Either of them, one of them would be good, just to surprise me. I was having a conversation with someone prior to the St Kilda game, and just sort of asked me my thoughts, and they go, well, I'm not confident. He goes, you against St Kilda? And I said, last 4 years have taught me to expect the worst, because that's what's fucking happened. We've lost when we shouldn't have lost, so I'm still expecting the worst. I think we should win comfortably, but my one worry this year is, we've gone pretty much 2 losses, 2 wins, we squared it off, and then we just keep coming back to this 50-50. I want to get way in front of this. We have Bulldogs and then Fremantle, I believe.
Fremantle at the G, which should be winnable. Which,
seriously, you should pencil that in as a win. No disrespect in terms of St Kilda, Fremantle, sorry. But yeah, they're playing at the MCG. We should win this in the next game and be 7-4. And then you get a little bit of a buffer and say, okay, with some tough games to come up, like Queen's birthday, Melbourne's flying well finally after, 64 years in the wilderness.
That one good game.
All those draft picks. I mean, they did everyone, a service, or not a service, but they did everyone a bit of an entertainment moment when they smashed Carlton, which is always funny to watch Carlton on the bottom yet again. We need to win this, and we need to win this, I think, relatively comfortably.
Well, Fass is out, we know. There is a midfielder running around in the VFL by the name of Braden Sear, Sire, or whatever. Dominated on the weekend. I think this could be his chance this weekend. He's been knocking on the door for a few weeks.
Yep.
Fass out, Sear in. I think could be the one change.
Yep. Chris Mayne holds his spot. He was pretty good in terms of pressure and that against St Kilda. I think he was probably one of the more solid players.
He's providing, he's linking well. He's not doing much else, but
well, that's the one thing.
He's playing
as a forward. So I mean, the one thing is, you bring Sire in for a forward. So again, you're gonna have to play like, I don't know, Pendles or someone up forward. The other alternatives, they might bring in Josh Dacos. Do any of those injured players come back?
Reedy must be knocking on the door. Maynard, we know, is another week away. That's really about it, I think. There's nobody else that's...
And I'll say this, and I'm going to sound horrible, but geez, I'm petrified of the prospect of Reed and Wells in the same team. I really just, Wells, everything he did is quality, but, he had big quiet patches. And you know what? Even if you took away all his injuries, he's still 32 or something. This is the stage that even if you didn't have injuries throughout your career, you'd probably start having them. He's had injuries throughout his career, so it's likely that he's going to start having. Reed has just been signed to a 1-year contract.
You beauty.
Yep. So, I love both players. Reed's a brilliant player when He's up and running, but unfortunately he's had a really bad injury run the last... What year did we draft him? 206, 207?
207, I think, was it?
Yeah, since 207 he's had a really bad injury run. Anyway, so your final thoughts?
I think we'll win a close-ish one. I'd say maybe 16 points for me. 16 points.
I'm going to go all out. Collingwood wins by 41 points.
I like your game better.
Yep. Well, hopefully we both get to like it. Question of the week. Last time I asked you, will Collingwood play finals, miss out, or just be, bomb out totally? So will they just miss, or will they bomb out like they've done in previous seasons and miss by, games?
Oh, I think we will make a final. I'm throwing it out there. I don't think we'll bomb. If we miss, we're going to miss by the skin of our teeth. But I think we're showing enough and the competition's so schizophrenic that we should be able to sneak in at the end when it matters.
Yep. I'm going to say we'll make it. Again, that negative side of me says you're crazy. But as I said,
you're crazy.
The voices in the night tell me I'm crazy. That win against Brisbane now looks really good after what they did to Hawthorn. They've been competitive besides that one game against Richmond over here. But over there, they've been very competitive. So actually that win looks like, it looks like we did quite a good job to get over the top of them because they came at us had hard like they did against Hawthorn. Hawthorn capitulated, we didn't. So Gilda came at us really, really hard. Geelong, we played a terrible game and we only really lost by 4 goals.
We kicked ourselves out of that one in a lot of ways.
Yep, so, I'm just sort of liking the fact that we're staying in games even when we're not playing at our best. And, the skill of the game proved one thing. You can have a bad day, but if we can put it together for 15, 20 minutes, likely we can actually establish a lead and break the opposition. So I'm pretty encouraged at this point. The other side of me just says it's going to fall apart like it always has.
I will be focusing on building that percentage though, because that is going to be vitally important at the end of the year. Yep.
But yeah, I really just want to be positive and say we'll make it, even though the negative side of me says you're crazy. So I don't know. I'm a Sly torn into.
So you want to believe?
Yes. Any final thoughts, Spook?
No, just make the finals for fuck's sake.
All right. Thanks for watching us. If you like what you see, subscribe. If you don't like what you see, subscribe. Hit like. Leave any comments. Or hit us up in the Facebook group. We'll see you next week.
Thanks for watching.